Welcome back to the show, everybody. Take a listen to these headlines. We got Flare in the news. The European Central Bank on recession as the U.S. hits a debt ceiling. Saudi Arabia confirms bye-bye to the U.S. dollar. Stellar in the CFTC, is it? We got Brooks Entwhistle sitting down with Cointelegraph. You ain't seen it, but we got it for you. And John Deaton explains an outright win for Ripple. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $1.08 trillion market cap. It's up 6.5% for cryptocurrency. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin, 22,900 plus. Ethereum now 1649 and 87 cents. And Tether, $66.5 billion market cap. XRP is 40 cents this morning. We're up 6% on the 7-day. 4.2% of that is in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at this. Right now, if you're not aware, Linqto is running $5,000 minimums, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a big deal. You're going to want to take part of that. Click the link to the sponsor underneath the video. You got to be accredited. If you're not accredited, you want to find out how, click the link underneath the video. Don't mess around. Figure it out. Let's do it. Here we go. Flare vote. The FIP1 is underway, ladies and gentlemen. You can vote yes or no, as we know, right? First governance vote on Flare is now happening, and it is exciting that that's happening. Waited a long time, and I'm still leaning into a yes, even though I know some people are holding on to the no. We'll see how all of this goes. This is exciting, though. I love seeing it, and I love seeing everybody take part in it. All right, let's start right here. The Eurozone economy will fare a lot better this year than initially feared, says Christine Lagarde, the chief of the European Central Bank. Well, let's hope that she's right on that. Because up until this moment of her saying this, everyone, including just one day ago at the Davos meetup with World Economic Forum, the United Nations has said that there is going to be a terrible recession, if not worse than that, coming globally. So we got to pay attention to what's going on here, because the U.S. government has hit its borrowing limit. The Treasury has activated extraordinary measures to keep paying the government bills. The circus is starting. Shout out to Gold Telegraph for this. And, you know, is the circus not, I mean, the tent never comes down, right? I mean, this is a mess. This is really a mess. And you have to ask yourself, one, Linqto, you guys know that they're a sponsor. I love using them. You can get physically allocated gold, MasterCard, debit card to go with it. You should click the link underneath, check my sponsor out. I love what they do. But listen to what they say here. The great charade, the U.S. debt ceiling's renewal, is upon us again. This time, as well as Democrats versus Republican Party squabbling, the U.S. needs to bear in mind that countries who buy its debt may be more reluctant this time around. Look, I don't think you could say it any better. You know, I've been saying this since 2019. You know, there is an imaginary line in the sand, ladies and gentlemen, and it's called confidence. And what they're pointing to in this tweet here from Glint is exactly that. When the rest of the country start going, you know what? I feel like this is a musical chairs event at this point. And where the confidence yesterday was that you want to hold U.S. debt and bonds, treasuries, and so forth, right? There's going to come a point where they go, I don't know if it's as safe as it used to be. And this adds to it. So not only are we at the debt ceiling, but Saudi Arabia confirms the non-dollar oil trade plans at Davos. You know, this coupled with the debt ceiling is really tearing down the confidence of why you would hold these trusted U.S. bonds and debt, right? This is why I say I don't believe for a second that all of this is happening without the U.S.'s understanding, cooperation, if you will, of some sort. They know what is coming. The average lifespan of a national currency that serves as a global reserve currency is 94 years. We're at the 70, 72-year mark, somewhere in that time frame. Now would be the time that you would want to start making these shifts, these paradigm shifts, to relieve the shocks and the spillover shocks and all of this to go along with making some kind of move, which I believe should be from a debt-based system to a multipolar asset-backed system. We'll see. But I think you're going to see evidence here that it is coming. The Japan Financial Services, the FSA, country's top financial regulator, has urged regulators around the world to subject cryptocurrency exchanges to bank-level regulation. You know what? As soon as I read that, I said to myself, this sounds an awful lot like Ripple talking. And it makes sense. The Bank of Spain has green-lighted preliminary digital euro test in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, this stuff is coming faster than we think. You're getting ready to see some more evidence here in the United States that it may be coming this year in a way. It has authorized Money to issue a euro-linked token. The digital currency will be available to a select number of users through a specialized app. This is coming on quick, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to act like they got years to do it, but it's coming on quick. And then you add in the pressure, the geopolitical pressure from China now. China's digital yuan just got smart contract functionality alongside new use cases. China's central bank digital currency CBDC has seen new use cases in recent days, including buying securities and making offline payments. Now, how long can you sit on the sideline and watch that happen on a geopolitical level and see that kind of forward motion taking place, bringing confidence to the use of their money instead of yours? National Australian Bank will launch a stablecoin on Algorand. Congrats to Algorand. And we're not done with you yet. The Stellar Development Foundation becomes an advisor for the CFTC. Oh, do tell. Oh, and we're going to. Shout out to XRP Crypto Wolf. If you're not following ProCoin News, what are you waiting for? I love them. They're a sponsor. Give them a follow. They're incredible. They're doing great work. Look, let's talk about this. If Stellar is now advising the CFTC, this may indicate that the CFTC may be taking a more active role on regulating crypto, which will be positive for the overall industry. After all, much of the crypto community has criticized the actions of the SEC as the agency has failed to protect many investors and seems to be picking winners and losers within the market. The big news is Stellar Development Foundation is joining the CFTC Global Market Advisory Committee as its only blockchain representation. It says, we're excited to lend a crypto-native perspective as the committee advises on the challenges and opportunities of a global marketplace. Now, here's what I'll remind you of out of this, right? If you go down into this, I want to read you right in here 1 second. Caroline Pham has put together the GMAC, I believe it is referred to here, and it is this council, basically. The committee will suggest to the CFTC the best ways to tackle integrity issues and other issues affecting the U.S. financial markets. You hearing this? Because I'm hearing it. I'm smelling what they're stepping in. The committee will suggest to CFTC the best ways to tackle those integrity issues affecting the U.S. financial markets. The presence of the SDF in the committee is a huge step forward for the blockchain industry. Yes, it is. Furthermore, it proves that the CFTC is committed to having players from various fields, financial space, other traditional financial players. You know, one of the things that I find interesting about this is I remind you that obviously we know that Ripple and XRP are hung up in a case with the SEC. But I want to remind you now, XLM is a copy of the XRP ledger. Yes, there's been modifications made to it. It is not a fork. It is a copy, because the co-creator of the XRP ledger took a copy of the XRP ledger with him when he went. The difference between Stellar is that it's non-profit, where Ripple is profit, and Stellar burned their escrow in 2019, and Ripple still has theirs. This is getting very interesting. And all of this is really also based around stablecoins. If I could, just very quickly here, it says here, let me just get to this one spot. I do want to highlight this. It calls it the Global Market Advisory Committee, but then it says something as decentralized cross-border money transfer operator in particular, Stellar XLM wants to pay particular attention to the issue of remittances and stablecoins. The fact that the CFTC's now brought on the SDF to this tells me that Caroline Pham is the head of this from the CFTC, and she's had over 60 meetings on blockchain and incorporating this into the financial system. We're going to get stablecoin legislation, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe XLM is going to play a big ass role in it. We've talked about this. Front side, retail, XRP ledger may end up being the private side wholesale backend. It doesn't mean we don't have the public ledger. We obviously have a public XRP ledger. This is Brooks Entwhistle from Ripple sitting down very quickly with Cointelegraph. Listen what he says about this year's agenda and how they're rolling.
You guys have weathered a lot of noise over the last couple of years. What does 2023 look like for the organization and the uptake of XRP and Ripple in general?
Sure. Well, we're excited about 2023. We'll continue to hire, but selectively. We're not naive to the fact that the macro environment is continuing to be challenged. We'll continue to focus internationally. We've been doing that for some time. Brad, all of us are out there talking about that piece of it, so the international build will continue. We need to get our core business right and continue to grow that dramatically, and then focus, as I mentioned, on other important initiatives like CBDCs, carbon credits, and make sure that we don't get too distracted with too many new exciting things that would take away from kind of proving the use case in the big business. So, but it's a great way to start the year. I mean, it's the 19th of January today. We are here at another conference last week in Switzerland, Davos this week. It feels like we're out of the gate strong with the agenda. Our teams are building and excited. And so I feel great about how the year's kicked off, despite the noise and macro and obviously very challenging environment.
And there you have that. They're not playing around. And again, going to the global customer adoption, acting as if we've already lost. The rest of the world wants to use it. That's the way we're going. And then the U.S. gets left behind, but not too fast. John Deaton explains how Judge Torres could grant Ripple an outright win. And it looks a lot like the way we've discussed here, the Supreme Court being involved. Come on in. Shout out to John Deaton here. Attorney Deaton said Judge Torres could reject the SEC's wild sweeping theory and give Ripple an outright win. Let's take a look at this. This is all based on JV the Great here on Twitter, and shout out to JV. He does some very, very intellectual posts. He's not afraid to examine positive or negative outcomes. I have a lot of mad respect for JV and what he does there. This is what I'll say. He says here, I'm saying Ripple's transactions are, I can't think of how they will get around it. He's saying also another reason why I'm convinced they will lose is notice how they really didn't put up a good argument about anything but the blue sky laws on whether an actual contract is needed or not. So that's his concern, is about the argument against the blue sky laws here. So if we come down to it, reacting to that, Attorney John Deaton says here, explaining that Judge Torres could give a Ripple an outright win. He says in a Twitter thread, he says this: here is how Judge could give Ripple outright win. People are focusing on the pre-1933 blue sky argument. The argument is for the second court and the Supreme Court. I don't believe Judge Torres agrees with that argument, although the current Supreme Court could. Where you heard that before? This is what I've said is one of the possible outcomes. And then everybody thinks, oh no, it'll take another 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, or whatever. You know what? Look, I have said that, it could work out positively because this judge could rule in Ripple's favor, forcing the SEC to begin to appeal that and take it all the way to the Supreme Court. But Ripple could have that outright win and they could begin U.S. adoption. And then there's a legal dog leash hooked on to Ripple and hooked on to XRP. And if it goes well, they'll bless it the way they need to at the Supreme Court level. And if it doesn't, they'll swing the gavel and it's digital marbles if it isn't going well. You have to understand this is a non-state backed money. This is not something to take lightly. We're talking about introducing a very real money that is very real decentralized, that does very real things the way it says it can. And you better bet your bottom dollar that scares the hell out of other countries and their governments and their central banks. And they want to be assured that if we introduce this very real new money that's not conflated, it has liquidity, it has utility, which gives it real value over time. And if that be the case, maybe, just maybe, this is the path that the case ends up going. And maybe Ripple gets that U.S. adoption and clear runway to take off in the U.S. while it has a legal dog leash all the way to the appellate and Supreme Court level. Who knows? Maybe Judge Torres comes out and rules and breaks this thing up in sections and it's a done deal. All I know is that I'm not scared anymore. My only real concern when it comes to me and the layman here, you guys know I'm 12 years short of a law degree, but I'll tell you this. The way I'm seeing this, the only thing I'm really concerned about is retail investors. Will they be able to continue to get it in the manner we were getting it before this case ever began? Let's take a look at this. Dark Defender says here, XRP is broken to 39 cents. We have an important milestone now at 44 cents if we can get there. The resistance is one of the most significant milestones for XRP. Here we zoom out to see 2017 versus 2023. You can see it right here. If we can get that 44 cents, we might get that breakout we always hear about. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.